The scorching sun hung high over the golden savanna, casting long shadows over the vast landscape. Tembo, a towering African elephant, stood amidst his herd, his large ears flapping rhythmically to cool himself. The dry season had set in, and water sources were beginning to dwindle. It was a time of great challenge, but Tembo had learned the ways of survival from his mother and the matriarch of the herd, Mama Nia. As the leader, Mama Nia guided the herd with wisdom gathered from decades of traversing the African plains. She knew where the last remaining water holes were hidden and understood the dangers lurking around them. The herd followed her as they embarked on a long journey, seeking the lifeblood that would sustain them. The journey was arduous. Tembo, still young but strong, felt the weight of exhaustion creeping into his legs. The heat was relentless, and dust swirled around them as they trudged on. The older elephants took turns protecting the calves, forming a circle around them when they sensed danger. Lions prowled nearby, their golden eyes glinting hungrily in the fading light. However, no predator dared attack a full-grown elephant, especially one as formidable as Mama Nia. Days passed, and the herd finally reached a water hole, but it was not as they had hoped. The water was scarce, and other animals had already gathered. A tense atmosphere loomed over the area as herds of zebras, wildebeests, and antelopes fought for a sip of the precious liquid. The elephants, with their sheer size and presence, made their way to the front. Tembo eagerly sucked water into his trunk, spraying some onto his back before drinking deeply. The relief was short-lived. A sudden movement caught Mama Nia's eye. A group of poachers lurked in the distance. The wise matriarch trumpeted a warning, and the herd immediately retreated into the cover of acacia trees. Tembo's heart pounded as he followed the others, his ears twitching at the unfamiliar sounds. They had lost many kin to poachers before, and the memory of their fallen brethren fueled their survival instinct. For weeks, the herd navigated treacherous lands. They encountered drought-stricken terrain, crocodile-infested rivers, and occasional skirmishes with rival elephant herds. Tembo learned invaluable lessons: how to dig for hidden water beneath dry riverbeds, how to communicate with deep rumbles, and how to use his tusks not just for defense, but also for breaking tree branches when food was scarce. One fateful day, the skies darkened with heavy clouds. A rumble of thunder echoed across the plains, followed by the sweet scent of impending rain. The herd lifted their trunks in excitement. Soon, the heavens opened, and rain poured down in torrents. Tembo reveled in the downpour, his skin cooling as mud formed beneath his feet. The once barren landscape transformed into a paradise of lush greenery and flowing streams. As the seasons changed, the herd faced new challenges. With the arrival of the wet season, the rivers swelled, making crossings treacherous. Tembo watched as older elephants tested the waters before leading the herd across. The current was strong, but they locked trunks, forming a chain to guide the younger calves safely to the other side. This unity was their strength, their bond unbreakable in the face of nature's tests. However, as they reached new territories, they encountered another elephant herd. The two matriarchs observed each other, their deep rumbles communicating from afar. Sometimes rivalries erupted over scarce resources, but often wisdom prevailed. and the herds coexisted peacefully. Mama Nia, with her experience, led with grace, ensuring their herd found space without unnecessary conflict. Tembo also witnessed the trials of the older elephants. His uncle, a majestic bull, separated from the herd as he reached adulthood. It was his time to venture alone, seeking his own path. Tembo understood that he, too, would one day leave, but for now, he remained under Mama Nia's guidance, absorbing every lesson of survival and leadership. One evening, as the herd rested under the baobab trees, the distant roar of engines shattered the peace. Poachers were closing in again. This time, the elephants did not just run, they resisted. Mama Nia led them into thick vegetation, using the terrain to their advantage. The older bulls trumpeted fiercely, their sheer presence enough to deter the intruders. With the darkness on their side, the herd evaded the hunters, escaping into the safety of the wilderness. Years passed, and Tembo grew into a formidable bull, his tusks curving with age and wisdom. He had seen droughts and floods, faced predators and poachers, and learned the ways of his ancestors. When the time came for him to part ways with the herd, he did so with a heart full of knowledge and strength. Tembo roamed the vast plains, encountering other solitary bulls, forming temporary alliances before continuing on his journey. He discovered hidden water sources, guided lost calves back to their herds, and left his mark on the land as a protector of his kind. Survival in the African wilderness was never easy, but for Tembo and his herd, it was a journey of resilience, unity, and the unbreakable will to live. The cycle continued, generation after generation, as the great elephants of Africa endured, adapting to the ever-changing world while carrying the spirit of their ancestors forward.